30岁以上的兄弟啊，不要碰跟你同龄的女生。
I'm 32 this year, single, and recently, I've been absolutely fuming over something. Listen to this, it's just ridiculous. I have a college classmate, a woman, also 32, average looking, under 1.6 meters tall, earning 5,000 renminbi a month, with savings that probably couldn't even cover the down payment for an electric scooter. But her standards for a partner? Sky high. The guy has to be over 30, make $1 million a year, own a house and a car, be at least 180 centimeters tall, and have a face that scores 7 out of 10 or higher. Can you believe it? If I put those standards on myself, I'd have to double-check if I even qualify, let alone her. One time, we met up for dinner, and I deliberately picked a 5-star restaurant to give her some face. But the moment she sat down, she stared at me, frowned, and said, "You're not 180 centimeters, are you?" I was stunned. We hadn't even exchanged 2 sentences, and she's already firing shots. Then she went off, rattling on about how she has high standards, how she's been protected by eagles and can't settle for wild chickens. I almost burst out laughing. I thought to myself, you make 5,000 a month, can't even afford a Michelin meal, where are these eagles coming from? Turns out, when she was 20, some rich guy took her out a few times, drove her around in a fancy car, and treated her to upscale dinners. Ever since, she's convinced she's worth that price tag. But now that she's past 30, she still thinks she can cash in on her youth. Brothers, the next dividend she cashes in on might just be her early retirement pension. Honestly, I've seen plenty of girls like this. They had a bit of charm when they were young, got chased by a few guys, and started thinking they're goddesses. The older they get, the higher their standards climb, but their own qualifications? Not a single step forward. She looks down on 5,000 month guys, thinks 8,000 month guys are dime a dozen, ultra-realistic about you but wildly idealistic about herself. At its core, this mindset is selfish. She demands you hustle in your career, not for your sake, but for her own comfort. I've got a buddy, 31, decent catch, making 500,000 a year, owns a car and a house. He married a girl like this. What's life like now? He grinds at work all day, comes home to do chores, gets chewed out like a dog if he leaves a sock out of place. His wife uses La Mer, while he's stuck with a jar of Debeo all year round, too stingy to even buy himself a face wash. Brothers, who could live like that? I'm not saying all women in their 30s are like this, but the odds are definitely higher than with women in their 20s. The younger ones, especially those with little dating experience, still dream of pure love. They might want some pocket money or emotional support, stuff a 30-year-old guy can easily provide. I've got a friend, born in 91, dating a girl born in 03. They're glued to each other every day, happy as can be. Another buddy, born in 88, got divorced, then landed a girl born in 01, started his second spring, living better than he did in his first marriage. Young girls are simple, even the bad ones from school aren't that bad. But women in their 30s? Either they're so career-driven they don't need a man, or they're so picky no one dares touch them. I've got a colleague, 35, female, making 300,000 a year, good-looking, her social media full of travel pics, but still single. Why? She wants a guy making $1 million a year who'll also jet-set with her. Brothers, is that realistic? Dealing with women like this is exhausting. I went on a blind date once, she was 33, and right off the bat, she asked about my salary and if I own property overseas. I said I make 400,000 a year and own 2 houses. She still thought I wasn't ambitious enough, saying her ex drove a Porsche. I thought, if your ex was that great, why didn't he keep you? Later, I figured it out, she doesn't want marriage. She's a modern independent woman, just looking for a young guy to date and look good with. If she flirts with you but isn't in a rush to settle down, brothers, you've got to ask yourself, am I the backup, A woman serious about marriage would be more anxious than you, she's only got a few prime years left. Why would she let a decent guy like you slip away? Where's she finding the next one? My childhood friend, 32, similar situation to me, dated a 30-year-old for 6 months. She wasn't in any hurry. He brought up marriage, she said, let's wait. Turns out, she had another guy on the side. Brothers, ever run into this? I'm 32 now, doing alright career-wise, pulling in $600,000 a year, but the dating market waits for no one. Men bloom at 30? That's toxic nonsense. Your career can soar, but marriage and kids? You've got to act fast. I've got a college roommate, 33, still picky, thinking women in their 30s aren't good enough for him. Now he can't find a single decent match. Time doesn't wait, brothers. No good options around me, so I got help. Within a month, I added triple-digit female friends, average age down by 5 years. Now I'm not short on choices. If any of you have scored a girl born post-2000, let's swap tips. Don't waste time chasing these absurdly demanding types. A 30-year-old guy going for a 20-something? Less hassle, more reliable. What do you think?
屏幕前的小姐妹们，你们找男朋友的时候真
I'm 28 this year and have been dating my boyfriend for almost 2 years. Lately my mom's been pushing me to get married, saying he's a great guy, makes 20,000 renminbi a month, no pressure from a mortgage or car loan, and he's willing to spend on me. But I've been hesitating, feeling like something's missing. He's average looking, not highly educated, and while my mom says his conditions beat out most people, I can't shake the thought that maybe I could wait and find someone better. Do you think I'm being too greedy? I've got 2 examples around me that make me even more conflicted. First, my best friend, she's not as pretty as me, dated a guy with decent prospects making 300,000 a year, but it was long distance for years. I recently heard they broke up and it made me wonder. If long distance is so unreliable, shouldn't I cherish the guy right in front of me? Then there's an older friend, 10 years my senior, who married a super rich guy. She always tells me that as long as you're pretty, you can snag a wealthy man. Her husband's worth hundreds of millions, gifting her luxury cars and bags. But behind closed doors she cries to me about how he cheats constantly and even their kids disrespect her. She flaunts her life on the surface, but she's miserable. It got me thinking, can money really buy happiness? My cousin's in a similar boat. Married a rich second-gen guy, always posting luxury hauls online, but her husband's home maybe 3 days a month. She says she regrets it. My boyfriend treats me well. He buys me little gifts every month and insists on paying when we eat out. But sometimes I catch myself thinking if only he were a bit more handsome or had a better degree. My friends say I'm the type who wants it all, too greedy. But online, don't all those happy people seem perfect? Then I realized it's just a facade. Who doesn't have regrets in real life? One friend of mine dated a hot guy making 500,000 a year, but he was a player. She went crazy trying to keep tabs on him and ended up depressed. Another coworker's boyfriend is a PhD, super educated, but his temper's awful. They fight constantly. She says she wishes she'd picked someone with a better personality. Happiness, how can you have it all? I did the math. If I break up with my boyfriend at 27 or 28 and look for someone with a higher income, it might take a year to build a new relationship. Guys with good conditions are either unattractive or have picky families. A friend of mine, 29, went on a date with a guy making $1 million a year, but his parents shot her down because her family has no background. The ones who are well-off, handsome and loyal? Snapped up long ago. For someone like me, kinda pretty, no family wealth, parents with no pension, trying to climb high based on looks is tough. Maintaining beauty costs money. A single cosmetic procedure is tens of thousands and I make 8,000 a month. Where's that cash coming from? A college classmate of mine, 27, goes to beauty clinics non-stop, maxed out her credit cards and is still single. She says she regrets not settling with someone reliable earlier. Then there's my older cousin, 30, making 200,000 a year in a tier 1 city, thinking she's hot stuff. But she can't afford a house and living decently leaves her with less than 100,000 saved annually. She looks down on mediocre guys, but the great ones don't want her. She's stuck. She's always talking about being a boss babe, but she seems exhausted, working late every night with no time to date. I don't want to end up like that. So I'm wondering, if my boyfriend makes $10,000 or $20,000 a month, treats me well and there's no huge pressure, isn't that enough? If I keep chasing more, will I end up with nothing? My aunt got married at 32 after being picky for years, settled for someone average, and now complains daily about her lack of foresight. I don't want to follow her path. I've talked to my girlfriends. Some of them do the same, keeping their boyfriends while secretly looking for upgrades. After a year, the better guys either ignore them or just want to fling. My childhood friend, 28, dated a guy for 3 years but dumped him because he wasn't handsome enough. Her new hot guy turned out to be a cheater and she cried, saying she should have stayed. I'm turning 29. Finding someone my age who's better than my current boyfriend is rare. The good men marry young. Back in college, older girls were already setting them up. Who's still single at 30 waiting for me? A high school classmate of mine married a civil servant at 25. Her life's stable. She says settling early gave her peace of mind. I'm so lost right now. Should I commit or not? Sometimes I feel my standards are high, but reality tells me good enough might be the move. Sisters, have you ever faced this dilemma? Give me some advice.
同样是找不着对象，结不了婚，那
I'm 35, with a decent career, making 500,000 renminbi a year, own a house and a car, and I've been divorced once. Now single, I've got my own thoughts on finding a partner. Brothers, hear me out. For men over 30, don't easily go for women your age, especially the ones with sky-high demands. I'm not discriminating, it's just that reality has shown me the odds are low and the effort's not worth it. I've seen too many cases. Take a client of mine, 33, female, bachelor's degree, decent figure, stable job, but still single. Either her standards are insane, or her personality's a mess. She wants you to make $1 million a year, be 180 centimeters tall, romantic, and loaded. But she earns $8,000 a month, barely covering rent. Over dinner, she told me her ex drove a Ferrari. I asked, so why didn't you keep him? She said he found her not gentle enough. I thought, who could meet those demands? Then there's a buddy of mine, 32, who went on a date with a 34-year-old. First question out of her mouth. Do you have overseas property? No. 800,000 salary, no talk. Brothers, is that realistic? With women like this, if you're top tier, you might stand a chance. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. She might not even want marriage. Just a modern independent woman, looking for a young guy to date or a backup plan. My advice to you brothers, go for women in their 20s, especially those with little dating experience. Their needs are simple, emotional support and a bit of spending money, which a 30-something guy can easily provide. A friend of mine, born in 91, is with a girl born in 03. They're inseparable, happy as can be. He says young girls are straightforward, easy to cheer up after a fight, not like women in their 30s, always scheming. Another buddy, born in 88, got divorced, then landed a girl born in 01. His second spring is pure bliss. He says dating a younger woman even makes him feel younger. Girls fresh out of school, even the bad ones, aren't that bad. Just give them small gifts or take them out, and they're content. But women in their 30s? Either they're so career-driven they don't need a man, or so picky no one dares approach. I've got a colleague, 35, female, making 300,000 a year, good-looking, but she demands a guy with $1 million a year salary who'll travel the world with her. She calls it her bottom line. I'm thinking, who can clear that bar? My ex-wife was in her 30s when we met, 34 when we married, with demands through the roof. I busted my ass making money while she did nothing at home, still complaining I wasn't romantic enough. I'd work till midnight, come home, and she'd make me wash dishes, saying she'd had a tough day. What about my tough day? After the divorce, I realized living with someone so demanding and selfish is exhausting. She wanted luxury cars and bags but wouldn't even cook a meal. Post-marriage, she kept comparing me to her ex, saying how good he was at sweet-talking her. I thought, then go find him. People like that don't get better after marriage. Brothers, if you've been through this, feel free to share. My childhood friend, 33, married a 36-year-old, Now he's nagged daily to have kids and take care of her parents. He's nearly worked to death. Of course, not all women in their 30s are off limits. If she's got a PhD or a strong career, say, over 500,000 a year, she's worth considering. She's got her own security, not fully relying on you. But most, at 30, no career, no savings, yet they still think they're a catch. My cousin, 37, single, makes 150,000 a year and considers herself a prize, but she wants a guy with a villa when she can't even scrape together a down payment. Brothers, don't bet on slim odds. For men over 30, the golden window in the dating market is just a few years. Marriage and kids need to happen fast. A college roommate of mine, 34, is still picky, thinking women in their 30s aren't good enough for him. Now he can't find anyone decent. Time doesn't wait. Here's my plan. I'm older now, so I'll find someone younger, with a good personality. Someone who makes life comfortable. Recently, I met a 26-year-old, just out of college, cheerful, no hidden agenda. I took her out for a meal, and she was over the moon. I think this works, easy and stress-free. Brothers, share your dating tips if you've got any. Don't waste time on unreliable types.
我说一个不怕女生骂的话啊，我
I'm 25, been working for 2 years, and I'm single. Lately, I keep hearing people say girls need to hurry up and find a partner, but I'm feeling lost, unsure of what I even want. Online, those boss babe stories get my blood pumping. I feel like I could do it too, focus on my career and become an independent woman. But reality. I make 8,000 renminbi a month in a small city. Saving anything is a struggle. Where's the capital to build a career? My college roommate, 27, works overtime every day for a promotion, ended up hospitalized from exhaustion, and still hasn't saved much. I don't want that, but I don't know what to do instead. I've got an older cousin, 30, making 200,000 a year in a big city. She thinks she's killing it, but she can't afford a house, and living decently leaves her with less than 100,000 saved annually. She looks down on mediocre guys, but the great ones don't want her. She's still single. She's always talking about being a boss babe, but she looks exhausted, working late with no weekends free. I asked if she's happy. She said she's used to it. I don't want to get used to that kind of life, so I'm wondering, if I can't make it big in my career, should I just find a man? My aunt got married at 35 after chasing her career forever. Didn't succeed there, and now she complains her husband isn't good enough. I don't want to end up like her. But finding a guy has me torn too. A friend of mine has a boyfriend who earns well and treats her great, but she complains he's not handsome and threatens to break up all the time. I told her to settle. She said my standards are too low. But I think if you want everything, you'll end up with nothing, right? My cousin married a rich second-gen guy. Looks glamorous, her social media's all luxury goods, but her husband's home maybe 3 days a month. She says she regrets it, told me money without love leaves life empty. Then there's a coworker whose boyfriend is hot but has a terrible temper, always giving her the silent treatment, leaving her in tears. Seeing all this, I'm like, why is happiness so hard? I did some math. If I look for a partner now with reasonable standards, say 10,000 or 20,000 a month, treats me well, no big pressure, it shouldn't be too hard, right? But I'm scared I won't be satisfied, always wanting to wait for someone hotter or richer. My childhood friend, 26, married as a guy and is happy now. She says don't pick too long, just find good enough. But then I see those rich housewives online living dazzling lives, and I waver. Later I realize that's the minority. A high school classmate, 27, dated a guy making $1 million a year, but his parents rejected her for her low education. She cried, saying she wished she hadn't been so picky. Reality is, the good guys get snatched up early. The ones from wealthy families have parents who nitpick their daughters-in-law. Someone like me from an average family has no edge. Being pretty helps, but maintaining looks costs money. Tens of thousands for cosmetic procedures, and I can't afford that. A friend, 28, goes to beauty clinics non-stop, maxed out her credit cards, and is still single. She regrets not settling earlier. My mom keeps saying a girl's prime years are short.
Past 27 or 28 it gets tough. I'm 25, still have some room to choose, but by 30, I'll probably need to get real. Those no marriage, no kids, peace forever, cha-cha in the nursing home. Slogans sound cool, but they feel unreliable. My younger cousin swore off marriage, but at 29, she's jealous of happy couples. I feel like I need to pick a path. Either grind for a career, hit 200,000 plus a year by 30, and live well single. But I'm too lazy for that. I'd hate constant overtime. Or find a reliable guy and live a steady life. But what if he turns out to be a player? My neighbor, 26, married an honest guy. Life's simple but peaceful. She says don't overthink it when you're young. Just find someone decent. It makes sense, but I'm scared of regret. Sisters, what should I do? I'm still young, need to figure out my worth fast, or I'll end up with nothing. My aunt, 32, is still picky, thinking she's a catch, but now she can't even get a date. I don't want that. Any advice?
The video is coming to an end, and if you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. I'll keep updating with content you love, and your support is my biggest motivation to keep going. Also, feel free to leave any suggestions in the comments. I'll be picking some of your feedback from there, and those selected will get a mysterious reward from me.